and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a sports betting perspective, with pro handicappers Alex B. Smith and veteran sports writer Jimmy Murphy. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network, Tuesday, December 21st. It's Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and we will have Jimmy Murphy and Andrew McInnis with us momentarily. The whole crew will be assembled for this, what is now all of a sudden, not by our choice, that's for sure, the final edition of the Ice Guys show prior to the Christmas break, the final day of NHL games, or should I say the final NHL game before the Christmas break. We think that's assuming that the Tampa Bay Lightning and Vegas Golden Knights actually drop the puck tonight at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time on this lone remaining last game standing, if you will, on the Tuesday NHL card. But as we've learned over the last week or so, Alex, things are changing day to day. Never mind that. How about hour by hour? How about minute by minute? How about second by second? Things could change. So we think we've got a hockey game tonight. And if we do, we've got a pretty good one to go into the Christmas break with. The Lightning and the Golden Knights, two teams that have actually not been fully gripped by the tentacles of COVID-19 entering this game tonight, at least compared to many other teams in the National Hockey League. But again, we're going to have to wait to see if that game does get played. As of right now, it's still on. As of right now, it's scheduled. So we're going to preview that game. We're going to break it down as if it is going to go forward tonight. So we're looking forward to that, and we hope it gets played, Lightning and Golden Knights. Alex B. Smith with me, of course. We haven't seen him in a couple of days. Alex, how are you feeling? Obviously, from a NHL fan and an NHL bettor perspective, it's certainly been frustrating and disappointing to see the season being interrupted the way it has.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you hate to see this and the way that everything's going, not just obviously on the ice, but just off the ice in our own lives. I mean, to see this rearing its ugly head again, and while it may not be as dire of straits as it was when the pandemic first began, and that's based on just preliminary reports, obviously things are changing on the fly in every aspect. But to see games getting canceled, I mean, if there's never a good time to do it, right? It's never a good time to cancel anything you got scheduled. But if there was a optimal time to do it, it would be right now. We're already going to head into having 3 days off, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because of the holiday. So to give an extra kind of kickstart to the holiday, let the leagues figure out what they need to do moving forward, especially, the announcement with not sending guys to the Olympics. That seems to be inevitable. We're just waiting on, actually the literal word. Obviously having to use this new shadow schedule on top of adding the games in that have been missed. Now to this, what was going to be a 16, 17-day break. There's rumors now of, will the All-Star game go on? Maybe they have to scrap the All-Star game this year to try to get these other games rescheduled. And obviously you don't want to take the risk of putting the top 50 or 60 players in the league all in one spot, and then they risk getting sick and then going back to their respective clubs. So there's a lot of moving parts and pieces. Like you said, everything's changing by the hour. We woke up this morning, we thought we were going to have two hockey games, but then Philly-Washington gets canceled. So we're left with the lone matchup, which actually is a pretty good matchup of two teams playing well with Tampa Bay and Las Vegas. A lot of people probably would think this could be a Stanley Cup final preview if these two teams can keep the pace that they're on right now. But it's just super unfortunate. Like you said, the timing is probably optimally the best, but we just hope that, we can get a hold on this thing and, everybody can, do the proper things they need to do, the testing, the vaccinations, the boosters. Like I said, yes, it's contagious. Yes, people get it, but the boosters and the vaccinations keep people from getting in the hospitals and dying. So that's key one. Key two is eventually trying to get this thing eliminated once and for all. We're still a ways away from that, but we have to take our steps and weather the storm.
Just like everybody else. Yeah, we're weathering the storm. The leagues are weathering the storm. The players are weathering the storm. The coaches, go on down the list. Everybody is having to deal with it right now, plain and simple, in one fashion or another. And right now we're going to have to wait and see. And, we have our own Ice Guys conversation room, if you will, on Twitter. Myself, Alex, Jimmy, and Andrew. And we always chat amongst ourselves. And I was saying to them last night in our conversation that, look, there's no guarantee we don't get back here December 27th, ready to start up games again. And here are a million players across the league going right back into COVID protocol again. And we still have not really gone through this massive wave of the Omicron variant spreading through the league. We could have the same issues we're having right now, basically a week from now. That is still very much a possibility.
Absolutely.
And obviously the testing that that the players are going to be mandated to go through starting on December 26th, Boxing Day, when the facilities open again, that's going to be the telltale sign. Will there be hopefully as many negative tests as possible, and the need will not be as high for players to be in protocol. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And from a hockey standpoint, let's think about how it's impacted some teams. If you're, let's say, the Minnesota Wild, and I bring them up because they've actually lost 4 games in a row after last night's loss to the Dallas Stars in the only NHL game that took place last night. If you're the Minnesota Wild, this little interruption in the season, it actually doesn't come at a bad time. You're actually having one of your roughest patches of the year. You haven't played quite as good in these last 4 games. It's your longest losing streak right now of the entire season for Dean Evason and his team. So maybe this break doesn't come at the worst time imaginable. You counter that with a team like, let's say, the surging Vancouver Canucks, since Bruce Boudreau took over as the head coach. And here's this team rolling, playing some really good hockey, playing their best hockey of the season. Essentially, Boudreau pushing all the right buttons. Brock Besser can't put a puck in the ocean until Bruce Boudreau's on the scene. And now all of a sudden he's scoring goals left and right, and he's found his offensive confidence again. The whole team's playing well. They've won every game since Boudreau's been there. And then all of a sudden they get hit with this interruption in the season and this COVID pause. And you got to think the timing absolutely sucks. And Vancouver's hating this right now. This pause, because they're just feeling it, that the whole team, they're playing their best hockey right now. And all of a sudden this interruption occurs at probably the worst time imaginable for a team like the Vancouver Canucks. Whereas Minnesota, maybe they're happy they're getting a little break to maybe find their game again, which is, again, deteriorated just a little bit here in these last 4 games. So, with each team, I'm sure they have different feelings, different opinions on whether they want the break right now, whether they're happy to see this little pause right now, or whether they're not so happy to see it at this point in time. We've got the whole crew assembled. I'm happy to see that. This is our final show before the break. It's been a while since we've had all 4 of us. We'll start with Andrew, the Vegas man. Of course, he was in Las Vegas all of last week on a nice vacation there, spent 5 days out there, Monday to Friday. Andrew, how was the trip? How was the Vegas experience? And how are things with you?
Good to be here with you guys. Good to be back. Ian, it was great to meet you in person after knowing each other for so long. It's just, I find it's just so cool. You meet so many people online and you've never actually, had gotten a chance to shake their hand and meet in person. But yeah, it was nice to grab some lunch with you and my girlfriend and watch some games. And what better of a bet for us to be sweating out than an under together, the Army Navy under, which was kind of
That's
funny.
right. We were watching Army Navy that day. That's right. Looking to cash a 16th straight under in the series, and got a little in. We didn't like the way it started that game. Lots of points early, and then it just died after that. So we'll take it.
But no, it was a fun trip. I think obviously I was there for a concert. For those of you guys that like country, you'll know Luke Combs. If you don't like country, you probably have never heard of him before, but it was an unbelievable concert. He was great in person, sold out T-Mobile Arena. So really enjoyed that. Several COVID tests came, negative. So it was successful as far as that goes. I was making sure I was staying healthy and just a great experience. And the last time I was in Vegas, I was there pretty much by myself. I met up with a few people I knew, but my girlfriend isn't really a sports bettor. She went 2 for 3, so she's proud of that record. She bet the over in both primetime football games, and she bet the Chiefs second half. But that was a bet we went in on together, and then she had some like live bet on some game that I don't even know what it was, but she really wanted a live bet, and she realized that it's not always as easy as it thinks it's going to be. But I gotta say, guys, Stadium Swim is fucking insane. That's all I can say. Yep. I'm not going to, be PG-13 for that. It is just insane. And the funny thing is, it's heated pools.
There's nothing else like it.
It's certainly heated pools and like hot tubs. Yeah. And I'm like, everybody's calling me crazy. And I got to shout out to Kevin Stevenson, who gave us a tour and showed us around. It was amazing. He works with Circa, and nobody's there, guys. I wanted to see a cool atmosphere, but then it ended up being kind of like a cool romantic thing, just the 2 of us there. And the guy was like, "You guys are all crazy." I'm like, "Why are we crazy? It's like heated pools." He's like, oh, you Canadians like coming here in December. I'm like, what are you talking? It's literally a hot tub. Like it could be like negative degrees outside right now, and I'd still be comfortable in this hot tub. And yeah, we're looking around, and it was just hilarious. So it was funny. So I put my card down at the bar. I got one drink, and then I told him, I was like, hey man, like I'll keep it with you if I'm going to order any more drinks. So that way I'm not paying every time. And he's like, no problem. The guy comes up to us. He's like, you guys are nuts in that hot tub. He's like, I'll keep coming to you guys and ask you what you want because I don't want you to get cold getting out of the pool. And every time he'd come back and bring our drinks.
I'm Canadian. I'm good. I know what cold's all about.
Exactly. Every time he'd come back, though,
I'll be fine. Yeah.
He had something different he'd say, though. He's like, here's your drinks, you crazy motherfuckers. And I was laughing my ass off. And it's just two of us watching the primetime game, the Chiefs game. But yeah, really, really fun trip and happy to experience it. Hoping to go to Vegas with the three of you guys sometime.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Awesome. No, never a bad time in Las Vegas, as Alex and I can attest to.
Yes.
And some of the experiences we've had there, both of us down there at the same time. But no doubt, always a good time there. And you're right. I'm waiting for the next Vegas trip to check out Circa, but I'm sure it's every bit as impressive as Andrew just stated. You know, inside with the actual book. And of course, outside with the stadium swim and the massive big screens and all the monitors, you know, there's a shit ton of games that are on those screens and near the pool there at stadium swim.
And I will say it's refreshing because you guys know how it can be in some of the books, especially the littler ones. Like I stayed at Planet Hollywood, you know, you think it'd be a fun atmosphere. That's what I wanted to get out of the book. Yeah. But some of them like that, it's depressing. You got guys with their headphones in, their heads down, like it's
sardines in a tin can, room. No ambiance, no noise,
and also like, you know, being from the East Coast of Canada, like we've got, you know, great air quality. I check my weather app when I land in Vegas. It says poor air quality on my on my phone. And I was talking to Hakeem Prophet, and he said, well, wait till you see LA's air quality. Right. So I'll tell you what, being out in stadium swim and having the kiosk there to go bet on sports and all the screens to bet is a lot more fun. And it was a great experience for myself and my girlfriend because, you know, she doesn't bet on sports that much, like I said. So to have something like that together, because I'll tell you, we don't smoke cigarettes. Like I smoke a little bit of, you know, cannabis, as they say. But, oh, my God, sitting in those casinos watching sports for hours, I couldn't do it, man. You get a headache.
Yeah, no, it's a lot. It's a lot. And when I went out there, it's funny to talk about with me and Ian the last time I was out there. I was smoking cigarettes back then. So I actually went in a couple of bars, and it's like it was just strange to be in a bar smoking a cigarette because the last time I remember that I was a little kid. Yeah. You know, the things have changed so much. But it's just funny.
Smoking them then, Alex?
No, I wasn't smoking them then. No, I was like 22 and I was smoking them. But it's funny though, and it's just funny like how the differences in where, because obviously all four of us are in different places, but going out west is so interesting because, like I said, you know, people get so used to the heat out there and they think that 50 degrees is freezing, and it's just really funny how like the combination of locals and then the combination of people from literally around the world. That's what makes Vegas just entertaining. There's never a dull moment just on that alone.
Yeah. I agree. That's my favorite part about it is meeting people from everywhere, and like it's like there's no like just locals you'll meet. And if there's anybody watching this show that lives in Texas, I apologize, but I thought it was hilarious. Like people that come up to me from Texas, you say you're from Canada and they think you're from like planet, you know, Jupiter. They think you're from, it's like, dude, like America and Canada are very similar actually, or no, not that. I always tell people,
we have electricity, we have cars, we have television, like internet.
I don't live in an igloo, you know, like they're like, you know, I always tell people actually Halifax, where I'm from, is known as Boston's little brother, where Jimmy's from. So the towns are supposed to be very comparable, but the guy was like, so what's Canada like for y'all? I'm like, what do you mean? What's it like? Like, he's like, I heard you got good health care and all this. It's like, what do y'all do in Canada? I'm like, the same shit you fucking do. Like, I'm like, what do you mean? What do we do? Like,
we play tiddlywinks all day and cook beans for dinner. That's what we do. Yeah.
Yeah. It kills me.
Yeah. As someone mentioned in the chat, it's actually the other way around. Texas is in its own world compared to the rest of the United States. So.
And Florida.
And definitely Florida.
Definitely. They can succeed as far as I'm concerned.
I got to get a good laugh at what Trevor just said. Meteorologist McInnis on the air quality check. Trust me, I don't usually check that stuff, but it was weird to land and have my weather app tell me it's poor air quality.
Yeah.
That is the difference in regions for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, no doubt. That was the voice of Jimmy Murphy there, finally getting a chance to speak here on the Tuesday edition of the show. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm good. That was great stuff, Andrew. I'm glad you had a good time, man. It's good stuff.
Thank
If they have the All-Star game, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna get out there somehow, but we'll see what happens. That's all. I think everything right now you'd have to say with the NHL is up in the air. And you ask how I am, Ian. I mean, to be frank, I'm pissed off. I'm frustrated, and just kind of at my wit's end. But at the same time, got to be positive. It is what it is. All of us all depend on this sport for our income, and it's a frustrating time right now. But at the same time, it's the holidays. And on the flip side, now with this break, and I hope the players are looking at it this way too. You get a little more time with your family, and you get a little more time to be with the people you love, and maybe breathe for a second. We don't always have this chance in the middle of a season, right? True. Especially at the holidays, because not only are we busy with work, but it's the holidays, and the holidays are traditionally the busiest time of the year for a lot of people. So, you know what? On the flip side, it's not that bad to just be able to sit back and breathe a bit. And ironically, guys, I'll tell you, and I think we've mentioned this before on the show, it's weird. Our site does more traffic when there's no hockey than when there is. I just don't get it. Like, our numbers in the off season compared to what they've been the last 2 months, they dwarf the season numbers. And it's so I'm looking at it, and sure enough, I'm looking at the traffic right now, and it's going up. So it's
because people have more time to check the site when there's not as many games.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it sounds like.
And I think too, it gives us more time. Like, okay, so there's not games, so then I have to write. Okay, what am I going to write about? Well, you know what? I'll write about trade rumors, or I'll write about some kind of gossip. And let's face it, that's what people love, and that's what gets the clicks. Mm-hmm. So I guess I can't complain in that respect, but I'm just frustrated. I mean, I really want to see, I hope they don't cancel that last game tonight. Maybe they have already since I hopped on here. I don't know, but I mean, that's going to be a great game. That's like a potential Stanley Cup final preview, so I hope we can see that game. And, I'm looking, guys, in the chat room. Look, I don't know about you guys, but I say we make a solemn promise to us and the people in the chat room. Let's keep politics out of this today. Let's, it is what it is. We're all frustrated. We're all not happy. I think I've made it pretty clear where I stand, and I don't know why COVID is political, but I think I've made it pretty clear where I stand in terms of COVID. But so I just asked, don't be posting accusations or stats out there without being able to back it up and misleading people. Yeah. There's some people doing that right now in the chat room. So just let's refrain from that. Let's keep it to hockey. Let's keep it to booze. Let's keep it to crazy stories of people thinking the Canadians are from Mars or something. I mean, what do you like? What's talking about? What do you do? Like, I don't know, man. I'm a human being. I do things just like you.
It just always cracks me up. It's America and Canada. Like, we're literally supposed to be like brother and sister countries. It's not like I'm from
we're in an igloo. It's cold all year. We have rations.
I watch my country kick your country's ass in hockey. That's
right.
You can always throw that back. The one thing I'll say about what Jimmy said, and it's a good point. I think the people that maybe haven't taken COVID-19 as seriously from the beginning, are frustrated, angry, upset, tired of it. I think even the people that have taken it seriously from the very beginning are upset, frustrated, tired of it, because I know I am. That's for sure. And it's frustrating to see the season definitely interrupted the way it has. But hey, it's the way it is. And look, I think the Olympics is a fait accompli at this point in time, that it's not going to happen. And they're going to use that Olympic time when there would have been games for Olympic hockey involving the NHL players.
Thank God for that, and thank God for the World Juniors.
I mean, that's almost like a gift now, guys. Like, what would they have done right now if they didn't have that break? And what are we at? 46 games total have been postponed.
Yeah.
When were you going to? I mean, you're not even going to play all of them during that break. I mean, you're still going to have to look at other dates. But what would you have done? What would the league have done?
Well, to be fair,
weren't empty.
To be fair, if they had not had the Olympic break, we'd be talking about a regular season that would be ending in, the usual mid-April, going into the playoffs. So I guess everything would have just kind of turned into what it is now. As of right now, if everything were to be played, I think everything ends in late June for the Cup final. So I mean, they would have been able to kind of just condense and push everything a little bit. But yes,
they would have extended to the summer, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so it's already going to. I mean, it's already going to go. About maybe 2 weeks short of the 4th of July as of now. So they would have just had to keep kind of running it through.
But at least we're not going to go to August like the last two summers.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like that was the whole thing. Like, everybody was so excited to kind of revert back to somewhat of a normal hockey schedule. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like, I still feel like I'm in some twilight zone from the last 2 years because my life revolves around the NHL schedule. And so when the Stanley Cup is being hoisted on August 31st, it's a bizarro world.
Yeah. I will say this: it was nice making that money in the summer because I make a lot more money during the year than I do in the summer.
For sure. Yeah.
And it's not bad when you can sit outside, and barbecue and watch the Cup final, but
definitely
you can still do that in June.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And, it's going to be, like I say, we're going to have to just keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best December 27th and onward. Because again, we could be right back in this same situation where players are going on protocol, a half a dozen at a time, coming out of the Christmas break. That's the fear that maybe we're not done with this, with the whole reason that we've had to postpone all these games the last few days in the first place. So we're just going to have to hope that this break calms the waters down a little bit and we end up getting back to a somewhat regular schedule starting on December 27th. So just a reminder, this is our final show. We're going to be off obviously right through until next Monday. Our next show will be Monday, December 27, which is when, as of right now, games are scheduled to resume once again. So this is our final show before the break. And with that in mind, let's get to the one game that, at least for now, is still scheduled. Now, keep in mind, morning skate is just happening as we speak right now in Las Vegas. So, it's usually around 11 a.m. local time, and that's what it is right now in Las Vegas. So, if we can clear through the Lightning and the Golden Knights morning skate sessions without any major announcements of this player and that player added to COVID-19 protocol, then I think we're going to be all systems go for this game tonight. And we're going to have to hope that's the case, because we do want to see a hockey game, because and especially a game of this magnitude, two of the best teams in the NHL. And as Alex said, very possibly this could be a Stanley Cup final preview between these two teams. So let's break it down. We got the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Vegas Golden Knights. Right now, Vegas minus 120 to minus 125, home favorites, 5.5 the total, pretty much across the board. Let's start with the Vegas side of the equation. I've been singing their praises on the show several times now over the last week to 2 weeks, and why not? They're playing some terrific hockey. They've won 5 straight games. They are 8-1 in their last 9 games entering this one, and the offense has been the large catalyst for the success. You look at the Vegas Golden Knights in their last 10 games. They scored 5 against Anaheim. They scored 7 against Arizona, 3 against Calgary, 5 against Dallas, 3 against Philly, 6 against Minnesota, 4 against Boston, 5 against Vegas, 3 against the Rangers, 4 against a defensive-minded Islanders team in that game that they won in a shootout on Sunday afternoon. So this team is having no problem filling the back of the net right now. And the reason for that is because Max Pacioretty, I've never seen the guy play better in his career, honestly, offensively, than the way he's playing right now. Obviously, getting everybody healthy has made an impact. Jonathan Marchessault is just a man possessed right now for the Vegas Golden Knights. He's playing absolutely outstanding at the offensive end of the ice. Those have been the players that have really been the offensive weapons here for this team. Max Pacioretty, Mark Stone missed so much of the season. William Karlsson was out for a long period of time. And now all of a sudden you're seeing this group, which all of a sudden, and you think of and you shudder at the fact that Jack Eichel is going to return and rejoin this team down the road that already has Pacioretty, Stevenson, Dadonov, Marchessault, Karlsson, Smith, a very good top 6 now that they're healthy, and you're going to be plugging in Jack Eichel to that mix.
Unbelievable.
Later on this year. So that becomes a very troubling thought for any team that's about to play the Vegas Golden Knights, including Tampa, who enter this game obviously off a 2-1 win against the Ottawa Senators. Now they have a definite scheduling advantage going into this game. You talk about rest. How many times can you say we've had 5 days off in between games? That is the situation for the Lightning. They haven't played since that game last Thursday at home against the Ottawa Senators. So they've had 5 full days between games. Actually, 4, I should say, 4 full days between games. But still, that is a lot of time, more than a lot of teams get. So definitely a rest advantage. And I like the idea usually of backing a rested team. But at the same time, you're not going to see me going against a Vegas team that's won 5 in a row. Now, certainly for Vegas, that spot's a little bit more dubious. They played a lot of games last week. You look at the schedule, the 14th against Boston on the road, the 16th in New Jersey, the 17th against the Rangers in a back-to-back, and then against the Islanders on Sunday. And now you're playing a Tuesday home game after that 4-game road trip. So this is definitely a scheduling edge for Tampa Bay. There is no denying that whatsoever. They're rested. They've had 4 days off. You've got a Golden Knights team that comes into this is going to end up being their 5th game in, let me just count it up here, 5th game in 8 days for the Vegas Golden Knights. So that bothers me a little bit for the Golden Knights, but they're playing well. I thought they were in a bad spot against the Islanders. I said it on Sunday. The only way I'd bet that game is Islanders as a home dog because that was the end of a road trip. They were already a perfect undefeated start to that trip. There was not really urgency to finish the road trip off with a win. There's a little bit of a fatigue spot as well based on the number of games in a condensed period of time. And wouldn't you know it, Vegas still found a way to win that game in a shootout against the Islanders. So it's a tough game for me from a side perspective. I do have a small bet just for some fun on the over here, 5.5 here, just with this Vegas team, with the way they're scoring, especially on home ice. 5.5 to get that with a total involving this team right now that's just lighting the lamp. I figured that was just too good of a number to pass up. So for me, it's just going to be a small bet, Tampa Bay Vegas over 5.5 in this game at -120. Alex, your thoughts here on the final game pre-Christmas break, Tampa Bay Vegas?
Yeah, it's interesting. If you go back to the days, obviously before pandemics and stoppages, this time of year, this last day or last couple of days before Christmas break, and we mentioned it too during Thanksgiving break, you tend to see a lot of offense. You see teams kind of mentally check out. Like I said, they're getting ready to be back with their families, have a couple of days to just breathe and not worry about the game for a while, and try to reset and refocus. And so obviously it's a bit more abrupt of a stoppage, but I think that's what we're going to probably see, especially when you look at the scheduling spot of Vegas, 5 games in 8 days, coming back off of a very successful road trip out east. This is definitely a spot where we could, usually if there was games in between and everything was at normal schedule, normal pace, we'd still be talking about, probably fading Vegas because they might be, laying an egg in this spot. Well, they're playing in good form, and they're also playing a Tampa team that's been in good form, winning 7 of their last 8. So I want nothing to do with a side. I'm going here with the first period over 1.5 minus $1.25. I think we can see goals galore. Over 5.5 makes sense for me too. Honestly, I'm seeing that at as low as $1.20. So I'll go with both overs, first period and full game. They might just roll the puck out and just play and see whoever scores last wins it. Won't be a whole lot of checking. It may just be kind of a look like a preseason feel to this game.
Pond hockey.
Yeah, I think you could. We certainly saw that with Minnesota and Dallas last night, didn't we? I mean, and we've seen that a lot, actually. The Sunday games, a lot of them went over the total. The Saturday games, a lot of them went over the total. So it has really been a pattern. We've seen some sloppy play and some higher scoring games these last few days prior to the Christmas break. I want to point out something in terms of the over 5.5 that I think strengthens the cause a little bit in this game. Tampa Bay's been a stronger over team on the road compared to at home. They actually are 9-6 to the under at home. They're 8-5 to the over on the road. And the Vegas Golden Knights a solid 9-6 to the over on home ice this year at T-Mobile Arena. And here's the key. And I said, getting a 5.5 with Vegas, I think some solid value. When Vegas games are lined at 5.5 with their totals this year, 14-4 to the over for the Vegas Golden Knights with totals of 5.5. So that's another thing to factor in. Another thing too with Tampa. They play, I see them a little bit, they dumb it down. They don't want to put on a show, I guess, against the weaker teams. They just try to control the game, rely more on their defense and Vasilevsky and net against the weaker teams. You look at the lower scoring games, an under with Ottawa, an under with LA, an under with Montreal, a lot of unders with the weaker teams, the subpar teams. But you look at the games against some of the best teams. Toronto, that game went over the total. Minnesota, that game went over the total. St. Louis, if I find that when it's a better opponent and a more marquee quality opponent, Tampa Bay plays, they play with more pace. They try to get the offense going. They realize, hey, there's a good team we're playing on the other side. We got to score goals if we're going to try to beat them. So I'm noticing that little bit of a pattern as well with Tampa Bay just in their last 10 to 15 games. The weaker teams, they trend a little bit more under. The better teams on their schedule, they open up and then play a little bit more to the over. Jimmy, what do you think here? Lightning and Golden Knights.
Well, guys, I'll tell you, I think this is going to be a classic case of the team coming back from a successful road trip and maybe having a sort of a false sense of comfort there, being a little lackadaisical in the beginning. So I got a couple on these. I'm really liking Tampa in this game. Give me Tampa puck line first period. And then I'm also going to take the over in the first period. And then, you know what? It's a holiday gift, and this will be my best bet. I'll just give it to you right now. Give me the Tampa Bay Lightning on a reverse puck line. I like a 4-2 Lightning score in this game.
Wow. Like in Tampa, there's no doubt if you're a situational handicapper in the NHL or, you're that kind of better, that's your focus when it comes to betting this particular sport or any sport. It's a situational edge for Tampa Bay. There's no denying that whatsoever. They're rested. They haven't played since last Thursday. Vegas off a great, perfect road trip, and they've played a lot of games on that trip, and they're only getting 1 day between the end of that trip and flying back to Vegas. I understand it. But I could see it, the logic for Tampa Bay here tonight. But I don't know if I want to step in front of this Vegas team the way they're playing, and especially at home and the way they're scoring goals in bunches right now. But I get it. I get the reasoning for sure for anyone liking Tampa Bay. And Jimmy likes that side, and he's going to go puck line here to get an incredible plus price on that with the Tampa Bay Lightning in this game. And you can get right now with Tampa Bay on that reverse puck line, plus 275. Is what we're looking at with Tampa Bay minus 1.5 in this game. Andrew, Lightning and Golden Knights.
I got to say real quick, I don't usually bet the reverse puck lines myself, but it was cool to see at some of the books in Vegas, they had a huge board, one of those like the odds boards just for reverse puck lines. And I didn't even know they were that, available, and everyone bet though. That was super cool to see the crazy plus prices on those. But, a lot of things you guys said, I'm not going to waste anybody's time and kind of, echo them, but I'll say this, I'm echoing the exact bets that Alex is on. And I don't usually double up on overs. I'm usually on one, the first period, or the full game. But this time around, I'm on both. I think at worst, we get a split here in this one. Excuse me. I think a big thing, and the key word I think that Jimmy said was successful for that road trip of the Vegas Golden Knights. And that's one thing I've narrowed in on big time, is not just handicapping teams off a road trip, but how did the road trip go? The old fashioned handicapping term, fat and sassy, like Jimmy was saying, that's exactly what this spot is for the Vegas Golden Knights. Like Ian said, you don't want to get in front of them. I get it. But if there was ever a spot for them to kind of get home after a really impressive road trip, maybe they do finish off strong and go into the break feeling really good. But I think Tampa Bay, if you look at them, what they play Ottawa twice and LA in their last 3 games, those aren't some teams that you really give two about. I'll tell you what, they're going to get up for this game. You know what I mean? I think this is a game they'll count. So I like Tampa in this game, but I'm sticking to the over, and I'm looking at Victor Hedman over 2.5 shots, lock that in minus 125. Expecting that, we're all expecting goals in this game. I'm expecting shots galore. The message in the locker room is not, hey, don't be so fancy. Let's get pucks in deep on this team. Let's get some shots from the point. And that's why I'm looking at a defenseman. That's my favorite player prop on tonight. Victor Hedman over 2.5 shots. Looking at some of these Marchessault ones and different things like that, but wait to see what the prices are widely available. I always say that I don't like to give out props unless I've checked multiple books, because it's not fair for, a book I bet here in Canada that, might not be offered elsewhere and stuff like that. But that is one I've locked in so far, Victor Hedman over 2.5 shots.
All right, so over first period, over full game, and also Victor Hedman over shots on goal. And again, everyone in the chat, some people still thinking maybe this game, maybe it will. We don't know that for sure. The key is we got to cross the hurdle that is the morning skates for both teams. And if we get through that, and there's not 3 or 4 players on either side going into COVID protocol after that, they'll play the game. I think if it's even just one player on either side, they'll still get the game in. And Tampa and Vegas are both on the record. And I read this the other day. They want this game to get played. They will do whatever they need to try to get this game played. And they made sure they stressed that to the NHL, especially with Tampa already on the road. Because remember, they flew to begin the road trip to play Colorado. That game got postponed. Tampa wants to have this game played. So does Vegas. So I think they'll do everything they can to get it played. Doesn't guarantee it will, but hopefully it's on pace to have the puck dropped on this one. And if it is, it's a treat for all hockey fans, an early Christmas gift, if you will, going into the break, to have this be the final game, one of the best games you could ask for. 2 of the best teams in the NHL going head-to-head, the Lightning and the Golden Knights. All right, before we wrap up the show, we wanted to do just a little bit of who surprised you so far this season, current futures board, who is which teams you think might have a little bit of value based on this point in time with where their futures board. You got to believe that, as crazy as it is, and I'm not saying they're winning the Stanley Cup, and maybe I'm a prisoner of how they've played since Boudreau took over, but I see 80-1 sitting out there with the Canucks here, and then I'm just looking at that and saying, wow, they've looked like a different team since the coaching change. It's at least piquing my interest. I don't think I'll bet it, but it's at least piquing my interest there. An 80-1 shot there on the suddenly surging Vancouver Canucks. Right now, we got Vegas 6-1, Colorado plus 650, Tampa Bay plus 700, Toronto plus 750, Florida plus 950, Carolina 10-1, Minnesota 13-1, Washington 13-1. I still think there's a little value on that Rangers team 15-1. To be quite honest with you, at that price, Penguins 18-1 with the way they're playing team defense right now. Believe it or not, and Jari's playing well. That whole team is just defending at a high level. They've gotten healthy after having so many personnel issues earlier in the year. So 18-1 kind of piques my interest with the Pittsburgh Penguins a little bit. Those are ones that definitely stand out. Down the board, not as much, but yeah, Vancouver, Pittsburgh, could Winnipeg get their act together under Lowry, perhaps? But there's one that stands out. But I want to mention one team specifically that's been a surprise to me in a positive way. And again, it's good to be positive, just not COVID positive. That's what I always tell people these days. But I'm going to tip my cap to the Anaheim Ducks. This is a team that's surprised. They're definitely my surprise of the season from October to today, December 21st. They've got way more offensive abilities than they've ever had in recent years with your Troy Terrys of the world, with your Trevor Zegras of the world. This is now a talented group. They've got a terrific young blue liner who's only going to get better in Jamie Drysdale as well on the blue line. Very impressed with what I've seen here from the Anaheim Ducks this year. They've got way more team speed. They've got way more offensive creativity. The passing, just a level of skill has gone up immensely in this team this year. Now, believe it or not, you know what they've got to figure out to become even better, guys, is getting John Gibson back on his game. It's crazy you were actually saying that, but it's true. He did not play well, especially the last few weeks. And Stolarz, you could say, has even outplayed him at times. So, but props to the Anaheim Ducks, to Dallas Eakins. He's obviously part of the reason they're having success. He's done a good job coaching this young group, and definitely a team that, hey, they can think playoffs now. It's not out of the realm of possibility for the Anaheim Ducks with the way they've played. Alex, is there anything on the futures board you're interested in right now, or just from the October to now, what's been a team maybe that's kind of surprised you?
Well, I got to say the Washington Capitals have really shocked me. They're a team that I thought we were going to finally see their window being a Stanley Cup contender close up, and that's far from the case right now. Alex Ovechkin at 36 years old, the numbers he's putting up and the way he's playing right now, it seems like, it's the mere formality of when he grabs Gretzky's record and becomes the top goal scorer of all time. But like I said, he's passing the puck well too. He's throwing the body still. So I'm getting a couple of scraps already. Like, this guy's got to be the front runner for MVP. I actually took a shot with him plus 600 about a week ago. And this definitely just feels like, that number is going to keep coming down. Obviously, McDavid's going to be the favorite throughout with all that he's done for Edmonton. I mean, he's the Edmonton Oilers, essentially. It's him and Draisaitl. But I think the fact that because it's him and Draisaitl being so 1-2 heavy with that team and numbers-wise, they almost kind of cancel each other out. So you can actually get some good value if you want to grab Ovechkin. I think do it sooner than later with him to win the Hart Trophy. Another future play I made, actually added on to, was the Minnesota Wild. I already had a ticket for them to win the Central, but I grabbed another one at plus 320. That's still available at DraftKings. I think that's crazy. You look at how logjam the Central is right now, and of course, Colorado's the favorite, but Colorado right now sits fourth at 36 points. You got Minnesota a clear, 2 games, 4 points ahead of them right now, and obviously it's way too early to be counting points. But the thing is that I think that's great value still. Taking a shot with them. You can even maybe look at Nashville. That's another shocking team as well. A team I thought they'd be down toward the bottom of the division. They're floating around at the top, getting good goaltending. And that's the thing. It's, if you look at the styles now, we have enough data to kind of see what styles, these teams are playing where they can kind of hold on and be good playoff teams in the true second half of the season, which would be, late February and going into March and April, that's when the teams start counting points, when those games get close. And we always talk about how if the game's tied at 2-2 or 3-3 with 5 minutes in the third, they're going to hang on, try to grab that point for sure in the standings, and then settle things out in overtime. So when you have those teams, you can, spot those teams now that can earn points. Even a team like the LA Kings. Kings aren't going to win the Pacific Division, but they can make some noise all year and possibly be in that wild card race until the very end, because they find ways to at least keep themselves in games. They're not getting blown out in their losses. They're losing in overtime. They're losing by 1 goal. So you can find those scrappy teams. We always talk about the value that they provide on a nightly basis. But you might be able to grab a little bit of value with a future, and then you can adjust accordingly. If, let's say, they make it in the playoffs, you can hedge out of it, do different things. So Minnesota to win the Central, I grabbed that, like I said, a little bit more than I already had, but it's at a lower price of $320. And Alexander Ovechkin to win the Hart, finding around anywhere between $550 to $600. I think it's a really good play.
Nice.
Yeah, you're right about Nashville. They've surprised me in a pleasant way. I will say this, and I hate to be Mr. Downer with Nashville again, but it seems to be my calling card. The schedule's come a little bit light for them. There's a lot of Montreals and Seattles and Jersey and just some weaker teams that they've played on their schedule so far. I think the schedule, from what I see moving forward, it's going to get tougher for Nashville. Let's see if they can handle it. But no doubt. And you know why they're playing better? It's simple. Johansson and Duchesne have a pulse this year. That's why they're playing better. They've actually been the offensive difference makers and producers that they're supposed to be, that they're getting paid to be, and that hasn't been the case in years past. So, and Saros has been a rock steady in net. And Roman Yossi's playing terrific. This is Roman Josi, believe it or not, is having one of the best years he's ever had. And he's had a lot of great seasons. He's been a premier defenseman in the NHL for going on a decade plus now. And this is one of the best seasons I've ever seen him play. No doubt about that. He's playing at an incredible level right now for the Nashville Predators, and he's been a big piece of the puzzle as well as to why they've played well. Jimmy, just some overall thoughts the season to this point.
Well, you brought up Vancouver there, and I was going to go there, Ian. So great minds think alike. Look, I already jumped on it. I got a bet on Vancouver for the hell of it. I just did a $25 bet, $25 to win $3,375 on Vancouver to win the Stanley Cup. Is it going to happen? 99% no. But what the hell? It's $25. But if you want to get smarter with your money and you still want to include Vancouver in a bet, I'm looking at them right now here on DraftKings. I mean, it's plus 500 for them to make the playoffs. I think they have a very legit shot.
That's a really good bet.
I was looking at that too, Jimmy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a solid bet. And then another one to look at. And yes, I know that Vegas is rolling and Vegas is going to get Jack Eichel back. But Ian, we'll echo what you always say. Sometimes when that superstar comes into the lineup and a team is rolling, it can disrupt stuff.
For the first game, that's for sure.
You can get Anaheim still, who is the current division leader and one of the best teams in the NHL right now as we speak. You can get them on DraftKings at plus 1,200 to win the Pacific Division. I love that bet. I think it can happen. I think it's much more realistic than any of the Canucks stuff I was talking about. So that's something I look at there. As far as who makes it to the Cup, though, if I'm going to be serious, I'm going to stand by my pick. I got the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Colorado Avalanche. That's who I picked in the beginning of the season, and I still think that can happen. Obviously, there's teams that can disrupt that, but I think both teams so far, more so Toronto, has really come into their own than Colorado. I think they've had a lot of stops and goes there in Denver, but I think they'll get it together. So I'm going to stick with that as my pick, guys, but there's some really tempting futures out there, especially on DraftKings, so check it out.
Yes, there is. I mean, that's why, well, part of it too is, partners of the Ice Guys and the Hockey Podcast Network. But it is a great book for hockey. It legitimately, truly is DraftKings, and definitely a lot of.
That was your softball down the plate, buddy, for your segue there.
That's right. And we will get to DraftKings before we wrap up the show one final time as well. But I just want to break it down here. Here's what we're looking at with top 10 teams in points right now going into the Christmas break. We've got St. Louis 10th in the league, Florida 9th, Anaheim 8th. How about that in terms of points in the overall NHL standings? Vegas 7th, Minnesota 6th, Rangers 5th, Toronto 4th, Tampa 3rd, and Washington, Carolina tied atop the league with 43 points right now. So that is basically your top 10 teams right there in the NHL in terms of points to this point in the year. Of course, Anaheim being in the top 10. And like I said, that's why they were my clear choice for what has surprised me or which team has surprised me so far this season. They were the clear choice to me. They've definitely exceeded any expectations I've had of them going into the year. Andrew, your thoughts on the NHL action that we've seen to this point?
Well, I was going to say actually the exact same bet as Jimmy. So, a lot of the same thoughts there. But the funny thing is, Jimmy, I gave out plus 175 for the Canucks to make the playoffs like many months ago to a lot of people. So now I feel like I want to say, hey, double down, everybody, double down and get a way better price. I wish I waited to give out this price, though, guys. But, one team on the entire board that sticks out to me might surprise you guys all. The Arizona, not Arizona. We're looking
the Houston Coyotes.
Yeah. No, you know what? I was gonna say Vancouver for me. I think that Calgary, as much as I'm saying, I think Vancouver can kind of surprise them. Calgary, for me, it's not about just their record. Taking a look at it, what is it? 15-7, 36 points for them. For me, it's kind of been how they've won their games. I've been kind of impressed with them, and I've been more impressed with their defense. It seems like their coaching staff's done a great job of building this team's kind of their tactics and the way they've run their team and getting a lead and protecting it. They haven't been, in years past, they've kind of been sloppy late in games, and I've not really seen that as much. And goaltending, whether it's a starter or a backup in net, they've been pretty good. So Calgary's a team that I wasn't too high on because many years they've had almost the same four guys. And they haven't been able to get it done. But this year, they've got a lot better with it. But one that hasn't been mentioned yet so far, guys, and I think it might catch a few of you guys off guard maybe. For me, one I'm going to say, and this is kind of a value play, obviously, Pittsburgh Penguins, 12-1 to win the East. This is a team that's dealt with lots of injuries, COVID stuff. Just when they start to get healthy again, Jake Gensel goes down. Just when they get Crosby back, this happens, that happens. And let's not forget, they were beating teams with like an ECHL roster at one point, This is a team that barely even was able to prove what they can do with a full roster. And let's not forget, this team was great going into last year's playoffs. And Tristan Jarry wasn't the best goaltender in that playoffs. We all can agree on that. He wasn't the reason they lost, but there were a couple questionable goals that you just can't allow in the playoffs. And 12-1 for me for this team that has that perfect mix of experience and youth is something I always say is a great mixture to a contending team. I like that quite a bit at 12-1. Look at the teams just right ahead of them. The Rangers, Bruins, Capitals, Hurricanes and stuff like that. Like, I agree with Jimmy about the Leafs. I think that, I was wrong about them going this year. They've done a great job. I mean, that Hyman, getting rid of him, as much as I was having my fun poking fun at the Leafs fans and stuff when Hyman scored his hat tricks, the guys that they were able to get or pay with that money that Hyman got, it's actually incredible. I mean, 4 guys that are contributing. I can't list them all off right now, but are covering that same pay that Hyman's getting for the Oilers and contributing for the Leafs. But for a team that hasn't, that's gotten bounced in the first round for the past like so many years, for them to be plus 550 to win the East, I can't get involved there. But I just look at this Pittsburgh team defensively too. Well, that's all that matters in the playoffs, isn't it? Defensive hockey, get a hot goaltender and get some experienced players to score big goals. So I guess that would be my play I'll give out. Pittsburgh 12-1 to win the East.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, all these cheap additions that Kyle Dubas made in the offseason, especially up front, they're paying off so far. Even Nick Ritchie's starting to finally find the back of the net, but especially the 2 guys that have paid off so far. These, it's like rolling the dice, low risk, but high reward if they work out, are Michael Bunting and Andre Kasha for the Leafs. Yeah. I mean, these are the 2 guys in particular that they've really gotten a lot more from. And Kasha, especially lately, he's been terrific. 8 goals now, 7 assists, 15 points. And Bunting, 7 goals, 12 assists so far, 19 points already for him this year. It's eased the blow right now of, losing Zach Hyman to the Edmonton Oilers. So definitely it's been good news in that regard for Toronto. Before we wrap up, I want to mention. What?
No.
Uh-oh. We got bad news for Tampa, Vegas.
Please, no.
I think so.
Please, no. I think it just got canceled.
I thought we could at least get through this final show, maybe, but at least before the freaking postponement announcement happened. But let me just, it's they said it was in jeopardy. Frank Saravalli on Twitter said one team was bracing themselves potentially for some bad news in terms of COVID-19. And that might be the case right now. Let's see. I'm just waiting for the NHL public relations. Make sure you're following them on Twitter. They are always the ones that, hey, it's going to happen if they're tweeting about it. But nevertheless, it might be bad news on the horizon here for Tampa Bay and Vegas, which means we won't have
it's not the usual accounts tweeting out, but I'm not seeing good things. So I'll rely on my number one source in Jimmy Puckline, but
which is a shame.
I
thought that was the one game that could escape. But
I just text my source with the Vegas team. It says not official yet.
Okay. There we go. Not official yet.
Said,
So fingers crossed. We're going to be crossing our fingers all afternoon. We want to see this game.
They're waiting on a couple tests right now.
Man.
Yeah. All right. We're waiting the test. So it's not off yet. Again, haven't heard anything officially yet. So
actually, real quick, I want to say for everybody out there watching this show, take a look right now, because if your book offers it, it's going to change. Bet Russia to win the men's hockey at the Olympics.
Yep.
Everybody should be doing this. I'm not saying it's a sure shot by any means.
KHL guys all over the roster.
Exactly. I mean, you have to look at which, the NHL is where all the Canadian players are, so that obviously US players as well. Swedish player.
They're going to pull from junior hockey, AHL, ECHL. That's how they're going to pull the team.
And the guys that are already over there are going to play. So those odds are going to drop big time. So if you guys can bet that, check it out at some of your books, especially offshore. It'll take longer for them to adjust, I think.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. It's very, very unfortunate what's happening, certainly with that. But nevertheless, Russia makes sense totally in terms of the rejigged Olympic men's hockey tournament based on the situation with the NHL players not going there. I'm always interested, and this is a good time to do it. It's our final show before the break. I'm always interested in looking at Andrew has to go, apparently. All right. So before we do this, we'll let him say goodbye to everybody and Merry Christmas to Andrew. It's been great to have him back as a regular member of the Ice Guys again. Andrew, Merry Christmas to you. Lindsay, it was nice to meet her, of course, during the stop you made in Hamilton during Grey Cup weekend, and to your family and friends and everybody. Have a Merry Christmas. And like I say, we're happy to have you as part of the Ice Guys again.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I just thank you guys for having me back. It's great to be back here with you guys. And I think that we always say with the live chat, it's not as much just about talking, hockey, betting, and all that kind of stuff, just about coming together and chatting. I feel like that's what makes this group really special. But yeah, happy holidays to all of you guys. To echo what Jimmy said, we'll all try and use this as an opportunity to take a deep breath and, spend some time with some loved ones and have some of those conversations we don't usually get to have, and just relax and maybe share a few cold beverages and have a good time. And hopefully we can talk before the New Year's. Maybe we can even do some World Junior stuff on this channel, or just come on and chat about hockey together. But I hope all of you guys get to spend some time with some family and enjoy the time off. Enjoy your Christmas. I know the older I get, the more when I was a kid, all I looked forward to was getting gifts. And now I look forward to seeing my aunts and uncles and grandma and all those people. So happy holidays to the three of you guys, everyone out there watching. And I apologize for leaving, but I have to run.
No, it's absolutely good. World Juniors, we're looking forward to it.
Yep.
And
Merry Christmas, bro.
Merry Christmas, Jimmy.
Yeah, happy holidays, man.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Merry
guys.
Christmas to Andrew. Yeah, the World Juniors in Canada are nuts, because one of the headline stories yesterday is just the captain being named, Caden Gooley, for the Canadian team. And it's like, wow. I mean, I know you're excited, TSN, for the tournament, but we start with Sports Center with breaking news. Team Canada has announced the captain for the World Junior team. It's like, whoa, wow, guys. I mean, I know you're excited, but you got to lead Sports Center with that? I mean,
guys, just speaking of World Juniors, quick heads up. I don't know where Nate Dogg in our chat room's getting his info, but the World Juniors isn't canceled. They canceled part of the season, so they call it
right,
pre-tournament games.
Yeah, they're just gonna go straight into the tournament.
The World Juniors is not canceled as of yet. Thank God.
Well, hopefully that's not the case, because we're excited for that tournament, and I know TSN is. They always send Gord Miller and Ray Ferraro there to call the tournament. So it's a big deal to TSN. Will move heaven and earth to make sure that tournament happens, because it's huge for their network. I mean, it's like people kill it with the ratings in Canada for that World Junior Tournament. And they don't want to see that canceled. That's revenue and cash in their pocket. And believe me, if you read the stories for TSN the last few years, laying people off, they need it. So they want that tournament to go on. That is for sure. Absolutely. All right. Before we wrap up, I like doing it at this time of year. Top 10 profitable teams in the NHL as of right now. Who have you been making money with in the NHL so far this year? And the current standings and profitability. Now, this is units won and units lost. You know, if you had bet one unit on each team in every one of their games this season, this is how things would have been. But right now, the top 10 teams in profitability in the NHL so far this year. Number 10, the LA Kings. How about that? Plus 1.8 units for the LA Kings this year. Number 9, the Pittsburgh Penguins, 2.64 units of profit this year. The Anaheim Ducks, number 7, 3.01. Number 8, I should say, Anaheim, 3.01 units of profit. Number 7, the Minnesota Wild, 3.09 units of profit. Terry Edelman's doing, handstands over that, or hearing that bit of news. Tampa Bay, number 6 in profitability, 3.31 units of profit. You know, that's pretty impressive because you're not supposed to get, a lot of value with Tampa Bay. And the fact that they're still 6th in the NHL in profitability right now, that's pretty impressive in my mind. San Jose, plus 5 units of profit. They are number 5. That's definitely a surprise. The New York Rangers, 4th in the NHL, plus 4.05 units. Vegas, another team that you'd think they're priced pretty highly in the betting markets, but they are 5.66 units of profit. Number 3 in the NHL in profitability. Carolina, number 2 in the NHL in profitability, 7.41 units. And the number 1 team in profitability this year, a team that I've been negative on more than any the last year or two, the Nashville Predators. Would you believe it? The Nashville Predators, 8.4 units of profit for their backers. I'm glad Andrew's left the show, guys, because the 32nd team in the NHL in profitability is in the team that you've lost the most money with this year, the Montreal Canadiens, at minus 15 units this year. If you've been betting the Montreal Canadiens in every game, you're down 15 units on a 1 unit per play scale. So that is pretty telling right now. The Islanders, second worst, minus 11.8 units. New Jersey, minus 9.8 units. Arizona, shocker, minus 9.8 units. And Arizona, minus 9.2 units. Actually kind of shocking Arizona's not dead last, but they're in the bottom 5 in the NHL, though, in terms of least profitable team. Montreal, though, bringing up the rear. The least profitable team, the team that you've lost the most money with betting this year, every single game, would have been the Montreal Canadiens. So obviously a nightmare season for them, and it's proven that way in the betting markets as well. You haven't lost more money with any team in the NHL more than the Montreal Canadiens. All right, guys, final thoughts. This is your chance to, say Merry Christmas to everybody. Alex, we'll start with you. This is our grand sign-off for the final time before the Christmas break. It's been a blast so far, and hopefully everybody has a happy and safe holiday. Alex, I'm sure you share those sentiments.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been, wonderful with having the hockey that we have had, seemingly on a normal schedule. Obviously, things are changing now, but hopefully we can, like I said, I've been saying it all day, we can weather the storm and get through this thing together. And like I said, it's been obviously wonderful working with you guys as usual. Great to have Andrew back. Great to have everybody in the chat, everyone downloading the show, the podcast, working with the Hockey Podcast Network, working with DraftKings. This has been a ton of fun, and looking forward to the holiday. I've been here in Chicago for well over a month now, so get to spend some more time with my folks, a few more days, and then in a week I will be back in Minnesota. So by the time we have hockey again, and hopefully back onto a more regular schedule, we'll be back in my apartment in St. Paul. So looking forward to that as well, but also just looking forward to the holidays and the great time. So I'm wishing everyone to be safe. If you haven't gotten vaccinated or get your boosters yet, do so, please, so we can put this shit aside and just have a very, very Merry Christmas.
There you go. Very good stuff, Alex, and we share those sentiments as well. Jimmy, final thoughts. Merry Christmas, obviously, to you, your family, Maddie as well, everybody in the Murphy clan, and we're looking forward to being back next Monday, and hopefully everybody has a great holiday.
Yeah, you too, guys. And I think the biggest thing I just want to say to everybody out there right now is stay safe and enjoy your families, like we were saying earlier. Just take this time. You know, we're so caught up in this game that sometimes we forget other stuff. So, like I said at the beginning, just breathe and enjoy it. You know, do some stuff that maybe you've been meaning to do and you put on the back burner. Whether, I don't know, cleaning up your office or something, or your garage, who knows, or going out, go sledding. I don't know if you get some snow there. It's way too warm where I am for this, but it's weird weather these days. But listen, have fun, enjoy it. And I'll tell you what, guys, I really do. I think jump on that Vancouver to make the playoffs there, because I think that not only they got Boudreaux, but I think they're going to make a move too. I think that, you know, you can't count Jim Rutherford out. The guy is one of the best GMs ever. His resume speaks to it. And I'm sure he'll get something up his sleeve and get somebody that can help them make a push for the playoffs.
I agree with that. I think that's even better than the Stanley Cup futures bet. Vancouver is that one, I think, to make the playoffs. No doubt. We wish you Merry Christmas, and I'll say final Merry Christmas to everybody. This is truly a family thing we have here with the Ice Guys, with the viewers and the listeners. We wouldn't be doing this show or having the success without it, if not for you guys. So thank you very much. We wish all of you a safe, happy, healthy Merry Christmas with you and your family and your friends. And we're looking forward to being back with you next Monday. And in the new year, we've got a lot of things planned here. We're going to get the Ice Guys live bet casts going. We might do a couple in January, but we're especially going to get it rolling on probably a weekly basis after football season in February. For the rest of the regular season, throughout the playoffs, we'll get the Ice Guys live bet casts going again. I know a lot of people have asked about them. We're looking forward to doing them again, but we want things to settle down just a little bit in terms of, you know, get football behind us and the busy part of the sports calendar year. So we're looking forward to the Ice Guys Betcast. We're going to be a lot more special guest centric in the new year as well, beyond football season. We've got a lot of things planned. We're going to invite a lot of our listeners and viewers, you know, the lifeblood of the show, on to join us again. We're going to be Chris Otto. We'd love to have him on the show if he can make it happen. We're going to invite him on. We'll invite Turnsey on if he can make it. Jarek Rubel, who's got great insight in hockey. We'll bring him on. Melissa Cunningham, if she wants to join the show as a special guest. We'll have some of our viewers and listeners joining us as special guests. I've got the pipeline to some former players that have a betting interest that are going to be joining us. We'll reach out to Deeds again. He wants to join the show again down the road. Of course, Grant Arnold to join us on the show. I've got interest from Bo Bennett to join the show in the new year as a guest. Eddie Lack, who was a former goaltender in the NHL. They all have betting interest. Kyle Bond, who's actually the grandson of Bobby Bond, the great Leaf, and played in the minor league hockey, mostly in the AHL, but definitely multiple former players that are interested right now in joining the show in the new year. So we've got lots of things planned, and it's going to be an exciting new year. The betcasts, we'll start those going. And of course, more than anything else, we'll still be here for you 7 days a week, breaking down every single game on the NHL board throughout the rest of the season, like only we do it here at the Ice Guys. So with all that said, it is over and out for the Ice Guys for the Christmas break. For Alex B. Smith, for Jimmy Murphy, for Andrew McInnis, I'm Ian Cameron. Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good night. Thank you for watching the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.